Tuesday in Brazil, that is the final day of Carnival. Here's our correspondent Brian Mayer with a deeper look at the music behind Olinda's legendary Carnival parades.
Frevo, the dance music genre central to Carnival in Pernambuco, emerged in the late 19th century when former slaves migrated to Recifel's port area for work, bringing traditional Afro-Brazilian drums with them. In barroom jam sessions with local military band musicians, they fused their drum rhythms with the popular polka music of the era. Dancers incorporated moves from capoeira, the then outlawed Afro-Brazilian martial art, resulting in a carnival sensation that thrives to this day.
Frevo é uma marca do improviso.
Frevo is an improvisational framework that was developed here in Pernambuco. But it also has a long tradition of bringing parody into Carnival, authentic parody, especially of power relations and organized religion.
One of the largest and most traditional Frevo clubs in Olinda is Pitombeira, which was founded by a group of friends in 1947 when they decided to joke around by dancing down the streets with branches from a Pitombeira tree. The joke caught on, and by the 1960s, the group was already attracting tens of thousands of revelers in Olinda every carnival.
O frevo, ele é a alma do olindense.
Frevo is the soul of the people of Olinda. Frevo represents all of the happiness and cultural diversity here in Olinda. Frevo is the root of Carnival. It's where Carnival started from, and it's where it gets its power to exist and shine and play around the way it does today. The only reason our Carnival is so grand is because of Frevo.
130 years after its debut in Pernambuco's Carnival, Frevo is attracting record-breaking crowds. Groups like Pitombeira play a vital role in preserving this tradition by engaging young people, ensuring Frevo remains a vibrant force in the life of Olinda's working class.
Our traditions of the standard bearer, the carnival dancers, the giant puppets, are part of the culture of Olinda. This is why we always preserve them and always bring our parties to the streets.
That appear and vanish overnight, Frevo looks like it's here to stay. Brian Mayer, teleSUR, Olinda.
And Cubans remember Tuesday the 65th anniversary of the first terrorist act against its revolution. On March 4, 1960, the French freighter La Coupe exploded in the harbor of Havana while it was unloading 76 tons of grenades and munitions sold by the Belgian kingdom to the nascent Cuban revolution. Two explosions within an interval of several minutes left about 100 people dead, dozens missing, and over 200 injured, including French sailors, firefighters, dog and rescue workers, and military and police officers. During the burial of the victims, Cuban historic leader Fidel Castro demonstrated that the grenades could not explode by blows, so the hypothesis of an accident while the boxes were being unloaded was discarded. 65 years after that terrorist act, the U.S. State Department and the CIA have refused to hand over the information they have about the event. Pope Francis has been reported in stable conditions on Tuesday after having suffered from two acute respiratory crises the day before. According to a Holy See statement, the pontiff remains vigilant, without fever, and fully cooperating with the treatments. He was switched to high-flow oxygen therapy, and non-invasive and mechanical ventilation will be resumed on Tuesday night until the next morning, as planned. Pope Francis suffered Monday two acute respiratory crises due to the accumulation of endobronchial mucus. His doctors keep a reserve prognosis without clarifying any evolution in his clinical condition. The 88-year-old pontiff has been in Rome's Gemelli Hospital since February 14th. On Tuesday, Peru's former president Pedro Castillo is having his first oral trial for the alleged coup attempt at the end of 2022. He has been detained in Barbadillo prison since then. The prosecution asked for 34 years in prison for the former president for having announced the closure of Congress, the intervention of the judiciary, and the installation of an emergency government. For their part, the defense team and the former president reject the accusations against him for alleged rebellion, abuse of power, and serious disturbance of public order. They also reaffirmed their condemnation to the Congress for the coup d'etat and for his unconstitutional dismissal. Journalist and political analyst Gustavo Espinosa highlighted the great problems faced by the judges to continue with the trial against former President Pedro Castillo.
Well, it
has to be said that the judges have two big problems to face in this process. The first is to determine whether or not the arrest of Pedro Castillo was legal. And everything indicates that it was illegal, because Pedro Castillo was arrested while he was President of the Republic, and therefore enjoying the presidential immunity that the Constitution registers. And there is no reason that justifies the detention of a president, even in the case where a president is committing a crime, that is, in flagrante delicto, he could not be detained. He would have to be interrogated and taken to the legislature.
Carnival celebrations are at all-time high in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's go live with our collaborator Mission Robinson for all the details as the festivities reach the final hours. Hello, Mission. What can you tell us from there?
We're coming to you live from Cipriani Boulevard here in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. It's day 2 of Carnival here in Trinidad and Tobago, and so many would have come out for Carnival celebrations here in what is dubbed as No Place Like Home. Now, there are a number of songs that are trending where the Road March winner is concerned. We have Carry It and also Cocoa Tea by Cass, and a number of other sounds here this year for 2025. Most certainly there have been no incidents, no major incidents during the course of the day. We would have started our reports with the Cambulé celebrations for Carnival 2025, and now we're here on day 5 of coverage by the team in teleSUR, at teleSUR English for Carnival in 2025. Opposition leader Kamala Harris has also called for continued police presence for Carnival, and they've committed to doing so with no major incidents. We'd also like to highlight the importance of Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago in terms of cultural continuity and documentation of what is important to those from once marginalized communities, those from those who were once enslaved in Trinidad and Tobago. We would have also provided coverage to you of the Steel Pan celebrations of Panorama, rightfully won by the Republic Bank's Exodus in Pan Yard a couple days ago. Many have come in from across the region, from Barbados, from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, from many Caribbean countries, from the international community as well. We would have spoken to some visitors from California, from Germany, from all over who would have come to Trinidad and Tobago for Carnival 2025. Celebrations today, we would have seen a number of influencers taking part in carnivals, the importance of the digital community coming together to give exposure to the island of Trinidad and Tobago. There was a presence by former Miss World, Miss Wendy Fitzwilliams, Bungie Garland, soca artist Bungie Garland, and also influencers Certified Samson, and a number of other micro-influencers who would have used the opportunity to capitalize on sharing information where Trinidad and Tobago's carnival is concerned. There was also a presence of those from Venezuela as well who would have attended carnival celebrations. We would have seen them out in force with the Venezuelan flag, showing solidarity for our brothers and sisters in Venezuela with continued sanctions by the United States of America. So it's one big happy family in Trinidad and Tobago for Carnival 2025. We've started with the Cambulé celebrations and so forth. And until next time, I'm Mission Robinson for teleSUR English.
Thank you, Mission, for the information and for all the updates coming from Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago's Carnival is the pinnacle of celebration and culture, earning its reputation as the greatest show on earth. To know more details on this festivity, we have contact with our collaborator, Mission Robinson. Hi, Mission. What can you tell us?
Most certainly, there's no place like home. And for 2025, Trinidad's theme has been Feel Like Home, bringing together persons from all across the diaspora, from all across the Caribbean region, even from international cities to right here where the heart of Carnival lives. There have been no major incidents for Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago for 2025. The Trinidad and Tobago's police service has reported a safe and enjoyable carnival. You know something that's really important where carnival is concerned? This celebration promotes unity, oneness of people, one humanity, one world at the end of the day. And it's been a fantastic showing of creativity, of the importance of assisting smaller enterprises, younger entrepreneurs, older entrepreneurs, all types of small businesses benefiting from Carnival 2025. In 2024, there were pretty good reported numbers where airlines are concerned, but for 2025, numbers have increased to over 400 new flights descending right here in Trinidad and Tobago. As I would have been mentioning, you know what's really important? The fact that when you come to Carnival, when you are in Trinidad and Tobago for Carnival, there's a friendliness, a rivalry, yes, between bands, but those ethnic barriers are broken down, economic barriers are broken down, social barriers are broken down. There is no classism where Carnival is concerned, okay? There's only one mass movement of people enjoying great vibes in recognition of the anti-colonial ties, oftentimes celebrated just before Ash Wednesday, today being the 4th of March 2025, and the vibes are still going. There's still a lot of pumping happening, a lot of separate parties. We would have run some numbers, and there are over 100 different events happening each week for the month of Carnival, spanning from the 1st of February until around the 15th or so of March. And it's just been a feel-good feeling, all inhibitions being released, people being friendly, being open, being welcoming to all types of visitors. No experiences of any type of xenophobia or anything of the like. Sounds like this one playing in the background by Machel Montano, promoting unity of Caribbean people, even our brothers and sisters from Latin America. We would have also carried some stories from Peru, from Brazil, from all over Latin America. Later this year in Barbados, Barbadians will be celebrating Carnival as well in August of 2025. And you know, it's something that people oftentimes say about Caribbean nations, that it feels like home, it feels like family, it feels like a safe place. And that is it, the unified story here in Trinidad and Tobago where Carnival is concerned. As we would have been mentioning, an estimated $640 million to be generated, as reported by the Trinidad and Tobago Tourism Authority from their ministers, to be generated from Carnival 2025. Yesterday, we would have also celebrated Juve, the early hours of the morning. Some have been going consistently and continuously where Carnival is concerned, stocked up on their vitamins, stocked up on their minerals. Of course, there's also the interjection of spirits as well, but it's just been a really good feeling being here in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm also smelling the whiff of delicious foods here in the Queen's Park Savannah. But even outside of town, people are celebrating these Carnivals festivities. Just a feel-good time to release, to enjoy the celebration of freedom. And, you know, it's great. It's great here in Trinidad and Tobago. For teleSUR English, I'm Miss Ron Robinson.
In other news, on Tuesday, Venezuela announced the activation of the Absolute Productive Independence Plan in the face of sanctions against the U.S. energy corporation Chevron. In a statement, the government announced that the new U.S. government gave in to the pressures from the failed Venezuelan opposition by finally sanctioning the U.S. company Chevron, which has been operating in Venezuelan oil fields for over 100 years. The statement adds the new U.S. government pretending to harm the Venezuelan people is self-inflicting damage by causing an increase in fuel prices and affecting the legal security of its company's investments abroad. For this reason, President Nicolás Maduro has ordered the activation of the Absolute Productive Independence Plan so that the hydrocarbons industry and the country's economy continue their stable and diversified recovery. The government of Venezuela activated a plan of absolute productive independence in response to the new U.S. sanctions against the operations of the oil company Chevron in the country. In reaction to Washington's decision, which orders the oil company to cease operations in Venezuela as of from April 3rd, the executive vice president of the Bolivarian country, teleSUR Rodriguez, said the Trump administration yielded to the pressures of the Venezuelan far right and it was harming itself by causing an increase of the fuel price in the North American nation. The vice president also informed that under President Maduro's orders, an absolute productive independence plan has been implemented to allow the Venezuelan oil industry and economy to continue its stable and diversified recovery.
is Fat Tuesday in Brazil. That is the final day of